move this back a little. There we go. More room. After much deliberation, he has decided our topic for the day.
X-Men.
We have the Wolverine Claw.
The Adamantium Collection.
Yes, the Adamantium Collection. That's what it... You can't see that. Okay.
Therefore, it should be unbreakable. Totally.
No.
Plastic. What?
When we bought it, it was the most complete of the collections. It had a slot in the back for first class, so... Or it came with first class? I don't remember how that worked. Anywho, it had first class. Because that was back when that was the newest doohickey. These are all backwards. Whoa.
No, slot for Days of Future Past.
Huh.
Or is it actually Days of Future Past?
I am now very confused.
I think we got the set that recently.
Then what's in this?
Dun dun dun.
Ah!
Well, we did load Days of Future Past in there.
Okay then.
Because our Days of Future Past Blu-ray is...
missing. So, yes, this is up to date. Well, okay, no, there's Apocalypse now.
Yeah.
Damn you, X-Men!
There's also Logan, if you include that. And possibly the Wolverine. I'm not sure if it's in there.
Well, why don't we go through the set and we'll find out.
Yes.
So, it was this claw thing, and on the side there was room for 2 books. So...
pretty good deal on it.
Volume 1, it has X-Men, X2, X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine. We don't talk about it.
Did you want to talk about any of the movies?
I'll get there. I wanted to show what was in the case.
Alright.
Shh.
Simma.
They agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 2 has First Class, The Wolverine, something called Legacy X Wolverine and the X-Men, which I assume is a behind-the-scenes thing. And then our Days of Future Past, because it had an open slot for it. Now you may talk about your movies.
I think the first one is pretty great, with the exception of Rogue being a depowered loser.
Do you need to show them all off again?
Probably not. Do you have an opinion of the first movie?
It's okay. I'm a better Vanna White than you, though.
Do what now?
Wheel of Fortune.
I don't know. That lady.
X-Men 1 was pretty good. It was one of the... not the first superhero movie I had seen, but... I don't know, it was different since I was used to Superman, who was an alien, and Batman, who was just rich.
Whereas I grew up with the X-Men cartoons, so it was pretty awesome to see them in live action and actually work pretty well.
Yeah, and yes, they gimped Rogue for some reason. We won't... it's not worth it. So then we have X2, which gets more confusing.
I can tell you why they gimped Rogue. Because she pretty much took on the role of Jubilee, and 20th Century Fox was afraid of having a female Chinese girl as the main character. White girl from the South works better. You may continue.
No. This is now your episode.
It's over.
It's over. Should I hit the button then?
No. The explanation is over.
Can we move on to X2?
Yes.
Well?
I also think it's a great movie.
Not going to discuss the plot? Now that all of our X-Men are united?
It's a pretty convoluted plot. But, long story short, Bryan Cranston really hates mutants.
To be fair, I honestly don't remember X2 at all.
We'll need to get to that one. It's the guy that has the son with the mind powers.
What does that have to do with Bryan Cranston?
Oh, that's not him.
Yeah, no, that's not him.
Brian Cox.
That'd probably be why I was very confused there.
You know, Bryan Cranston when he was trying to kill Godzilla. That's the plot of X2, right?
While making meth.
Yes, while making meth.
In his underwear. Okay. So yes, X2 is just a whole bunch of depression. Which is also X3. Or I suppose X-Men The Last Stand. Which is where the Phoenix shows up and decides to kill all people.
Cyclops dies because I guess they didn't want to pay him for the rest of the movie or something.
Well, A, thank you for saying spoiler alert. B,
happens in the first 5 seconds.
It does not.
And fine, they go back to the past in the first 5 seconds. Then Cyclops dies. So hardcore.
I see you don't remember the plots of the movies. Okay, how much do you remember of X-Men Origins Wolverine? Let's see how well you butcher that one.
What, worse than the actual plot?
Nothing can be worse than the actual plot. That was bad. It's supposedly the origin of Wolverine and his, you find out, brother Sabretooth.
And Wolverine's wife, who is also a secret agent, but also gave him his superhero name.
And her sister. See, this is where the timeline gets super effed up. Because her sister is whatever her name is. That can be the all diamond lady.
Emma Frost, the White Witch.
There you go. She becomes all diamonds, which is a cool power. Don't get me wrong.
Where's the White Queen? Anyway.
Either way, cool power. And yeah, for some reason her sister's like a teen, and she whatever. So we skip that one. Stupid. Go to First Class.
Her sister was a Native American, but she wasn't. I never thought about that. Whoa. That movie's bad.
The CG of Patrick Stewart didn't give it away.
It didn't bother me as much as it did you.
I hate when they CG people. So much.
What bothered me is him showing up and them calling that a good enough origin story for Cyclops. Again, spoilers about Cyclops.
Cyclops is everywhere.
He was a really cool character in the cartoon, and he totally got nerfed for the live action to make Wolverine look cooler.
So, okay, so there's X-Men Wolverine, right? That terrible thing. Then we have First Class. And in First Class, all of a sudden, Havoc?
Yes, Scott's older brother now.
Cyclops' brother shows up, and he's not supposed to be that old. The white whatever her name is, the Diamond Lady, is now suddenly a thing, and she's an adult in, like, the 70s.
Yeah, she's, like, in her late 30s or something, and then we're supposed to believe that, like, several decades later she shows up, and she'd be, like, in her 50s or something, and she looks even younger than she does in First Class.
The timeline's so effed up in this. It's beyond crazy. And then in First Class, they also ruin the Sphero thing.
No, Cerebro.
Yeah, they mess up the origin of Cerebro.
Magneto and I built this together.
No, Beast apparently built it.
The whole damn thing. No help from anyone else.
And he became Beast very oddly.
By injecting himself with Mystique's blood, back when she was kind of a good guy. Which is a thing now.
It's so weird.
Which means that when she showed up in all the original 3 movies, and, you know, Charles was sitting there, and they had, like, this close personal relationship, kind of raised as a ward in his house, I guess. Don't say crap. Just like Wolverine and Sabretooth being brothers in Origins. Don't say shit to each other in the first 3 X-Men movies.
Well, to be fair, I think he runs him over in the first one.
Yeah, he dies in the first one. However, it's like they're just stacking up plot lines
that don't make sense. And then which one's next? Okay, so we got First Class.
Days of Future Past.
No, the Wolverine.
Oh, I suppose.
You want to go in order?
It's not chronological order, but yes.
There is no chronological order.
It's
also,
all fucked up.
I have a problem with the end of First Class. So in like the comics or whatever, Xavier gets crippled or whatever because he was in a war. He was in Vietnam or Korea. One of the two. He got shot. But in this, Magneto did it. With all of his magnety powers, somehow he messed up and put a bullet in his back. They don't say why or how or why he didn't stop it. But it happened.
The master of magnetism that has so much control when the plot is required didn't give a crap where this bullet was whizzing and it went right through his spine of his best friend.
Yeah. And suddenly they're not friends.
He did get the really cool costume at the end of that movie.
Yeah, he did. Well, that villain was stupid. Sorry, Kevin Bacon, but it was stupid.
Friggin'
Thermo explosion man.
Can't even remember his name, but
it does not matter.
I feel like his power was stupider than it was in the cartoon.
He built up kinetic energy.
Like the Hellfire Club.
Yeah. Anywho, moving on to the Wolverine. It takes place slightly more in the future, not as far in the future as Logan, which probably doesn't even take place in the same timeline now.
Yeah. It's actually a really good movie, with the exception of the ending bad guy, who is basically like, you didn't know that it was me the entire time, and both Logan and the audience were like, I kind of really suspected you from 15 minutes after you got introduced, so, yeah.
Also, kind of an anticlimactic thing.
Yes, it was anticlimactic, but, like, all the lead up to that, really good.
Also, Wolverine gets his bone claws back.
Yeah.
But then I don't think he gets them back. Because then, when you skip to Days of Future Past, he's back to adamantium.
Because reasons.
Like, it just didn't happen. Which is weird. And Days of Future Past just messes up the timeline even more. I don't even know if there's a way to delve into how that messes up the timeline.
Not really. Are they going to try to pretend that somehow that fixed how Deadpool's origin wasn't completely destroyed by Wolverine Origins?
So in Days of Future Past, we are flung into the future, where I suppose Cable and all them would be living and weren't in the movie because they couldn't be in. I'm not going to figure it out.
I think Bishop was there, but he wasn't that cool or important.
Either way,
Yes, Cable really should have run around.
Kitty Pryde now suddenly has time travel powers, which I think is canon.
If you can phase through matter, you can phase through time. Apparently. I've always thought it was stupid, even when I read the comics.
Yeah, it's weird. Either way, she sends Wolverine back in time to when Xavier is apparently taking drugs so that he can walk, but he doesn't have his mental powers. Either way, weird plot. He has to unite everyone to stop Mystique from going to Thrask?
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
Trying to, like, murder him.
Because he takes Mystique's blood and gives it to the giant robots. Sentinels. And all of a sudden they can, like, mimic all the mutant powers and capture them. And thus ending the mutants.
I personally mostly liked the movie.
No.
But the plot is dumb as hell.
It needs to be on fire. And then...
Action was good.
And then Apocalypse happened.
I also mostly like that one, with the exception of the motivation for almost every bad guy was awful.
Set it on fire.
Like, Storm becomes one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse just because someone's like, hey, want to kill some people? It's just like, yeah! Which is totally not the...
How do you think Psylocke ended up in that stupid cult? She's like...
That too.
Psylocke's a bitch.
Apocalypse has 4 horsemen in the comics, and they decided not to use them, with the exception of Angel, whose origin story was also changed for that, since Angel showed up in the 3rd one.
Angel, in some form or another, he was in X3 as Angel.
Cutting his wings off.
Cutting his wings off, which was weird. But I think they grow back.
Yeah, they
in X-Men First Class, there's a girl who takes on the name Angel, even though she clearly has flippin' dragonfly wings.
She should have gone with Fairy.
And she spit fire.
They were like on fire balls of acid or something.
Yeah. So then we have Apocalypse, where we have Angel, who, yes, I think is supposed to be one of the horsemen, who becomes Archangel or something with, like, metal wings.
Which, again, I was okay with, because he's actually canonically supposed to be doing that, though it does F up the plot they established in X-Men 3.
And to establish, we don't always follow canon in this household. That is fine if they stray. I am mostly angry at timeline F-ups within their own story. I don't care if they follow the comics.
Yes,
but
you
clearly,
can depart from that if you really want to.
Clearly, Angel could not have been one of the horsemen, because he exists in the year, like, 2000, whatever X3 happened in, where he is a young man being controlled by his father.
And Storm was a totally zen teacher warrior chick in the first 3 movies.
And then all of a sudden she had that mohawk, which I know from the comics only happens after her and Black Panther divorce.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be much further in the future than the 60s. Or 70s, whatever year they were in that.
Also, Apocalypse just ages everyone far too much.
It was the 80s, I remember now. Quicksilver's awesome, though.
Yes, the Quicksilver from the X-Men series of movies is far better than the X-Men from the Avengers movies.
Yeah, much lamer.
But I also feel bad that they split Scarlet Witch. She's not in the X-Men movies. Well, he has a sister, but she's not Scarlet Witch to our knowledge yet. She's just a normal little girl.
Some weirdness.
So, just like they messed up the story of, oh god, Nightcrawler. There we go. But that does go into the comics and stuff, so it's not really worth griping about too much. Except for they age him too much, too, since he's also in Apocalypse.
And because we are awful, awful fans, we haven't seen Logan yet.
I know, I do want to see Logan. It's on my list. We have a list. And it looks like we're going to get to see Kingsman now because his father bought it and I was too lazy to, rent it myself.
Yeah, we really don't go to the theater as much as we used to.
We're thinking about going to Star Wars.
We really need to fandango some tickets. I'll work on that.
You do that. This video got very long. We're at 17 and a half minutes.
Damn. Well, you can call it Fox celebration of being purchased by Disney. Because everything we just talked about is going to be unmade after they do the last Phoenix movie to end the First Class timeline. And they'll make a second Deadpool movie. Then I assume they'll set everything on fire and start all that stuff over so they can incorporate it into the Marvel Universe. If they don't just reboot the Marvel Universe at the same time. I
would say that Disney might do a better job with the timeline, but looking at how they're handling the Star Wars movies does not give me much hope.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Like, I at least really hope that they make a Fantastic Four movie that's good. It's probably possible. It's got to be possible. I mean, they made a Guardians of the Galaxy, well, 2 of those movies, and they were good. No one's even ever heard of those guys.
Except for our friend who was like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hey, yes. I'm sorry, comics fans, but if you didn't know about it before the movie, it was obscure.
Now that you set the internet on fire again.
Yeah.
But don't worry. Soon we won't have this because of net neutrality.
Yay!
I'm gonna go now before I start my own fires.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.